Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've made it part of the way through now. It's something to keep things going. Kicking things off, we've got Gang War Daredevil, number 3. So, where we left off, specifically for Daredevil, Madame Masque was consolidating her power and had offered the assassin B'Elanna a permanent position in her organization. B'Elanna being one of the various clones of Wolverine made by Alchematics. Much like Scout from the X-Men. That said, B'Elanna has been given the task of killing Elektra. So the issue opens with the Owl paying a visit to Madame Masque. Masque ends up asking him if he has been giving the heroes information, hedging his bets, and, well, he states that, yeah, basically there's still plenty of time on the clock and plenty of players still on the board. But Masque sticks B'Elanna on him. The two of them begin fighting, and when the Owl suggested the two of them stop playing, B'Elanna pops her claws. The next you see of the Owl, he is being chucked into the dungeon dungeon alongside Hammerhead, Count Nefaria, Madame Masque's father, and Silvermane. Silvermane points out that they now have 4, and suggests perhaps they play a game of bridge. She then continues. Daredevil is patrolling, and She-Hulk gets a hold of her, but Elektra has to cut her off, as she's found some thugs have stopped someone trying to leave, intending to take their car. One of the members of this group, presumably family, is defending the rest with a baseball bat. Elektra comes in and backs him up. The two of them take on their assailants. Elektra stabs one in the knee, but the other adult in the group promptly says that the heroes are the reason New York always burns. And the one that had the baseball bat says that he knows that the heroes mean well, but Hell's Kitchen looks worse than when he was in Fallujah. That's why they're trying to get out. But Daredevil wants to know if everyone else has managed to escape, or if, though it's pointed out that those who haven't been able to are holed up in the C and E Street station, East stations on 6th. But as the two kids with the two men appear to have taken an interest in Elektra's size, well, Elektra does perform some tricks, twirls them for them. While doing so, however, a knife is thrown at the gas tank of the family's car by B'Elanna. Daredevil makes a point of telling the family to get out. And begins her fight with Bologna. At one point, point out she's a clone of Wolverine. Or another clone of Wolverine, though Bologna says that she's nothing like Wolverine. And it's stated that Logan never went through what they did. There were 10 of them at first. Victor Chandler, this was in Alchemist Genetics years ago. Victor Chandler made them fight each other, sometimes to the death, until only four survived. When they were finally free, she was recruited by Kimura, who made some modifications. Daredevil continues to try and talk Bologna down, but Bologna basically says that, they're not the same. But Bologna doesn't want Elektra's help. And she pops some smoke grenades and heads out when and after she does, Daredevil is contacted by Spider-Man. Basically say that the big fat fight's going down in Central Park. And that is where the issue ends. We are building towards the conclusion of Gang War, which I believe Amazing Spider-Man will be dropping next week, and then another one 2 weeks after. There will be a fourth issue of Gang War Daredevil, wrapping up the storyline from the individual series. However, moving on though to our next book, we've got Venom, number 30. Where we left off, Eddie had made it back to the garden, and as Bedlam, and fought one of his past selves. However, the other Bedlam shows up and fights this new Bedlam. The other symbiotes are watching and realizing that this is something that they don't remember happening. After all, each one has lived through certain events to a point, and everything repeats. But Meridius arrives. He is very not happy. He deals with he fights the other Eddies. However, in the middle of being a long-winded villain, he suddenly stops. Something is tearing its way out of his chest. Or rather, someone. Carnage. With one of the Eddies figuring that it was Carnage who killed the cat aliens based back in issue 1. Eddie tries to make a comment saying, if Carnage is God, then call him Nietzsche. Obviously meaning Nietzsche, but, well, yeah. Carnage actually corrects him on this. But Carnage kills one of the Eddies and tells one of the other Eddies that he murdered Eddie's son. Dylan's dead, and, well, Eddie's next. And that is where the issue ends. And this will be continued on in next month's issue 31. Basically, this is the lead off of a crossover between the Venom and Carnage, the two Venom and Carnage, the Venom series and this Carnage series. So, but there's a setup. Like I said, this is basically the prologue for that. I'm sure this issue of Carnage will have a lead-in as well. Will serve as a lead-in as well. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Doctor Strange, number 12. Where we left off, the Vishanti were really not entirely happy with Strange, as Strange had defeated General Strange with kindness. So the issue begins with Doctor Strange arguing with the Vishanti about what he did. They're actually, it's not so much the fact that General Strange was defeated with kindness, so much as the fact that Doctor Strange is treated with the Trinity of Ashes, has the power to be able to withstand General Strange. Outside the meeting between Strange and the Vishanti, however, Bats is patiently waiting. The Strange was supposed to take him for a walk, after all. But Strange being caught up in the drama of his profession, and Bats is forgiving, but he does say that something smells fishy. But Clea calls him, saying that they're required. And so Bats begins trying to figure out what it is that smells fishy, running into the two snakes. But he asks the snakes if they've seen anything weird around the sanctum. To which they kind of, do you realize where we are? Weird is, find something here that isn't weird. But there's a shadowy figure that is watching Bats, as well as Doctor Strange. Bats tells his suspicion, informs the Doctor of his suspicions, and also pointing out that maybe this, the snakes aren't entirely trustworthy. Though it's also pointed out that, well, while Bats is trustworthy, he's easily manipulated, as proven by Black Cat. Clea is none too happy with the fact that Black Cat was in the sanctum. But Stephen points out that it was extraordinary circumstances. However, Stephen tries to assuage Bats' paranoia, saying that if some great evil had entered the sanctum, he would know. Later, while Bats is resting, one of the snakes comes to him. Actually, so maybe Bats is right. After all, it's only one of the snakes coming to him, as the other one was taken by the shadow with eyes. But this one snake tried to warn Doctor Strange, Though the doctor didn't believe him on, on account of all the lying. The snakes really like lying. And so, they find the missing snake in a mirror. When the shadow with eyes appears behind them both, stating that what he's all about is stories, ghost stories, love stories, war stories, ghost stories. And who doesn't love a good ghost story? And apparently this one has everything. And he introduced himself as Victor Strange. Last seen in last year's Crypt of Shadows one shot. And he manages to banish both bats and the other snake to the Crypt of Shadows. And the reason why Stephen didn't notice that a great evil had entered the sanctum was because it was there all along. So the next morning, Doctor Strange wakes up, wondering what the snake was up to last night. What was Anton and Alistair? You could never tell them apart. Then maybe Beth would tell him as he walks by the mirror. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting setup. That said, it seems like this is going to be continued at a later point, as the next issue, the next couple issues seem to be dealing with a brief revival of Secret Defenders. Well, it'll be interesting to see at what point the story's continued, but if anything, it will be continued or concluded, or at least concluding in October, I would assume. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Thanos, number 3. Where we left off, Thanos had managed to catch up to Roberta and revealed to her that she was, in fact, Mistress Death in human form. But the issue begins with the Illuminati regrouping for a second assault on Thanos, while Thanos has taken Roberta to a Mexican restaurant to talk. Waiter comes up to take their order. The kitchen's a bit slow. Roberta wants the whole bottle of tequila. When the waiter gives a little, hey, maybe just a shot or 2 shots, Thanos implores them to bring her what she desires. But Roberta taps into the power of Mistress Death, knocking Thanos down briefly. However, allowing Roberta to escape. When she does so, however, a woman shows up with a shotgun and takes a shot at Thanos. But, well, a shotgun's not going to do much to the Mad Titan. I mean, maybe if you stuck the barrel in his mouth and pulled the trigger, but even then, you have to get close enough to do that. But Thanos wants to know, because perhaps this woman can shed some light on why Death was hidden away within bones and blood. But as Roberta drives away, the Illuminati does try and get her to pull over. Instead, though, she runs headlong into Thanos. The Illuminati make a second attack, and Roberta's injuries, however, appear to be rather great. Roberta dies, and Death is reborn. So all of them corrupt Death and betray Death. Thanos is pleased his mistress has returned, but she explains that she asked them to weaken her and endure the suffering of, as he puts it, lowly maggots. But he knows this. As Christine Collins, the woman that attempted to attack Thanos earlier, told him everything. Apparently, after the death of her daughter, she made her way to the realm of death. She'd apparently seen Death in the hospital as her daughter died. But Miss Collins wants her daughter back, and because it wasn't her time. But Mistress Death states that it was. That Mistress Death takes nothing; she merely presides. Though Christine says that Mistress Death's a coward. Zero understanding of the pain that kind of loss can cause. The irreplaceable value of a life. A single life is as important as the entire universe. But Death has her minions send Christine back, and Mistress Death goes to speak with the Illuminati in the Wakandan necropolis, explaining that she wants a human life, a human death. Doctor Strange points out that what she's asked for can be mystically arranged, though Tony wants to know what they get in return. With Emma backing him up, quid pro quo is necessary. Blue Marble even backs him up, saying, basically, if she's not going to give Illuminati something in return, well, she's going to try some therapy. And Mr. Death points out that the extinction of Earth will occur sooner than they think, and in fact in their lifetimes. She holds the foreknowledge of who and what will perpetrate this ultimate destruction, and what will end all that they know and love. They'll get that knowledge but he has a picture of Roberta. Wants to look like Roberta. That's it. He said to Fresno. Thanos is shocked that she would wish to toil with live a life with no knowledge of who she is, her power, no vocation, just confusion. No meaning or purpose at all. And so Thanos whispers, "Wake up, my mistress," to her, and Mistress Death points out to her that she is not, and never will be, Thanos' mistress, stating that he has disturbed and disgraced what she sought to understand, and for that she will never forgive him. Thanos is disappointed and so kills Christine. And once again, she lashes out at Thanos. Stating that Christine Collins had more courage than Thanos ever did in all of his days, pitifully groveling at her feet. Adding that Thanos will die there by her hand. And the issue ends with Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Reed Richards quoting Emily Dickinson, while Hulk points out that he hates poems. All right, okay. I like the whole thing that Roberta would actually turn out to be Mistress Death was kind of obvious. The reasoning was solid. Also, a nice nod to the Genus Vel miniseries from last year, as Christine, the knowledge to get to Death's realm. Among the people that Christine talked to was Marlowe. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Ultimate Black Panther, #1. The Maker has fallen. His council attempts to consolidate power. And so the issue begins in West Africa. Operatives of Khonshu are consolidating power throughout the continent. However, they're being watched. In Wakanda, T'Challa awakens. And while though it seems that his dream, the nightmare he's had, has also awoken the Queen, Okoye, with T'Challa pointing out that pleasantries are not needed between the two in their quarters. After all, they are equals, though Okoye just states that not a tradition and not in the eyes of the people. T'Challa is the king, she is his wife, and she serves his throne. Though T'Challa says that traditions must change. But from the Maker's Council, Ra and Khonshu are the ones who oversee the continent of Africa. As the doors of the city, in which the Maker is held, close, the doors of Wakanda have begun to open. But King T'Challa meets with his father, T'Chaka, and T'Chaka gives T'Challa some advice, namely to seek guidance from the Voodoo Khan, though T'Challa does not trust him, which T'Chaka says is smart, but an enemy of the king should never know they are the enemy. Should never know that they are the enemy of the king until it's too late. The advice he's given is to not choose fear, but awareness. And that the Voodoo Khan will be T'Challa's eyes as well. Ra and Khonshu are continuing to at least be an issue of note to T'Challa. To scouts give an account of what they saw. stating they can marshal a small group of warriors, Dora Milaje among them, seek out the marauders. But T'Challa points out that he takes information from spies, but not strategy. Shuri, the king's sister, disagrees with this. Though T'Challa points out that he doesn't believe that the two spies are lying. However, Wakanda's armies will remain still. With Shuri pointing out people are dying. Okoye supports the king's decision, saying his decision is wise. Careful steps, certainty. They are unknown to the outside world. And so they have surprise. They have the advantage of surprise, but they only have it once. Shuri understands and takes her leave of the king and queen. T'Challa believes that Shuri wants a war, but Okoye points out that the Dora Milaje wants a war. They want Shuri's genius to help them wage it. But once again, the Marauders Ra and Khonshu show up, causing problems. But this time they're met by, not in Wakanda, but outside Wakanda. And as I said, they're met by Killmonger. And the Wind Rider. At the annual Wakanda Celebration of Life, one of Ra's spies has shown up. Or a spy of Ra and Khonshu shows up, wearing a suicide vest, and detonates it, killing T'Chaka. As T'Challa falls from the dais that he and his father were on, the Black Panther suit envelops him. As T'Challa watches his father burn, members of the Dora Milaje, as well as the spies, of course, to check on him. T'Challa states to call the Queen, call Shuri, and the Voodoo Khan. Wakanda's enemy calls himself Moon Knight. And now Wakanda is at war, and that is where the issue ends. Solid first issue. So far, these new Ultimate books are 2 for 2. Next month we got Ultimate X-Men #1 kicking off, with the strong openings from both Spider-Man and Black Panther. This ought to be good. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.